Welcome to FTB Weekends. It is Saturday, the 5th of November. Beware the 5th of November. I don't know. 2022. It's currently 12:36 p.m. in the afternoon, Eastern time. And of course, I'm Jason C. McLean, and welcome back as always, Don McSweeney. Oh, I have to hold on. There we go. Okay. Welcome back. Hello. Yes, our little technology. Well, we I don't know what. It's not Halloween this time. We don't have crazy costumes on. We're just us. But what's sort of like a trick, not a treat, is what the Ontario putting a notwithstanding clause in a sort of back to work legislation against the teachers, which is illegal. And now Trudeau's thinking of actually legislating against the notwithstanding clause.
Okay, so step one, I'm generally on this side of people on protest. Step two, anytime teachers or nurses protest, they're 100% right. They don't want to be out there. They want to be doing their job. They wait till the last minute, they wait till they're overrun, and then they do it when they can't imagine another option. And I don't know if you know the definition. I don't know, rather, if Ford knows the definition of a contract, but if you force somebody to enter a contract, it's not a contract, which is a meeting of the minds and an agreement made freely.
Yeah, it's like that's more like like here, sign your like release papers from prison or something like that.
Yeah, you just got conscripted into having to work for the school without being allowed to protest, and now they're charging people $4,000 a day for being on the picket lines. And yes, I agree with Justin Trudeau speaking out against the use of the notwithstanding clause. I've seen a lot of conservatives and Ford supporters tweeting that it's funny that he didn't speak out every time Quebec uses it. That's also true.
Yeah.
Just because you can have two things be true at once. He's correct in this instance, and he should speak out when Quebec overreaches and does crazy anti-Canadian things with that notwithstanding clause.
Yeah. Jagmeet Singh, by the way, speaking out against it too.
Yeah, I know. I was proud of that. He's like, "We'll see you on the picket lines. We're there, man."
Yeah, because I mean, well, he the NDP. He's technically an MP from BC, but his background is in Ontario provincial politics. Like that's where he was from. The Ontario NDP is, I think, Brampton or something was his home riding. Like, yeah, so like he's like
the NDP is the Workers' Party, in my opinion.
Exactly.
Like, so that was the correct response from him. But once again, I am on Justin Trudeau's side about this, and I would like to see that same energy from him when the notwithstanding clause is used to just bulldoze our linguistic and religious freedoms.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. I mean, it's absolutely the thing though is, I mean, if these people half these people though, like they have the teachers, you're right, the teachers absolutely have a right to protest, like teachers, like anyone who's like important to society. And Ford is behaving completely abominably, and the fact that he's using the notwithstanding clause, it seems it only gets used for horrible things. But you know who doesn't have to use the notwithstanding clause and could just fire half their workforce is Elon Musk, who took over Twitter. Yeah, I was waiting for that segue. Okay, yes.
Okay, yes, literally fired half the workforce. I just saw today that he said that Twitter is losing $4 million a day, which is like, that doesn't really fully math to me, but whatever.
He's blaming activists for pushing the advertisers away because he wants to let like people like say racist things again and stuff like that. And one of the new things, I wrote an article about the blue check mark thing. We can get into that in a bit, but one thing is now he's thinking of charging people to DM celebrities, and like the celebrity would have to opt in, and Twitter would take a cut or something like that. Like if a celebrity goes, like Drake goes, slide into my DMs, it costs you money to slide into his DMs. First
of all, if a famous person wants me to slide into their DMs, they're not going to tell me to hit them up on Twitter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if there's going to be if some dude is trying to slide into some chick's DMs, there's other ways. Like, this is weird. First of all, DMing famous people is also weird.
He's trying
Can I say?
I mean, it works for Cameo. You can get a celebrity to respond to you, but so he's trying to turn.
But that's a whole thing that's intentionally built for that function.
Exactly. Yes.
And first of all, do you know anybody who's ever DM'd a celebrity?
No. I mean, do I count? I'm a celebrity in my own mind sometimes, and people.
So the thing is, I'm trying to find the context where what group of people are actually sitting there being like, I care enough that I got to get in this person's DMs, and they're not going to read it or anything weird, like, because they're famous and this is their social media. Like, anyway, that one's weird. I hadn't heard about it, but
The blue check mark, like he's like, but basically to summarize my article, what he's doing is it's not about the celebrities. It's not like it's very hard to get a blue check mark. You have to pass a certain notability criteria. What now it's going to be open to anyone, but for $8 a month. So he's devalued the thing, and he's trying to charge. He's basically, and he's saying it's a way to beat the bots. Now bots can't get DMs.
I understand.
Bots can't get the blue check mark. I'm just summarizing my bots can't get the blue check mark.
You should promo your article.
Yeah, it's on forgetthebox.net. It's my latest article. Yeah, so but yeah, it's not about celebrities. It's and bots can't get the blue check mark. So the thing is, he's probably meaning everyone who's not paying $8 a month to get the blue check mark is going to be treated like a bot. So he's trying to charge cover to the town square.
Because my understanding was that he's trying to say that because of the prevalence of bots, which was his part of his argument when he didn't want to buy it, but then he did want to buy it. But anyway, the prevalence of bots is devaluing the platform. And he's trying to regain its value by saying, hey, famous people, you care so much about this platform that you want to pay to be seen here. And they want to charge cover to the famous people, which is actually the reverse of how usually a club would work.
No, it's charging cover to anybody. Anybody can now claim to be a famous person.
I know, but they're still going to have to go through the thing. They're still going to have to go through the authenticity of it, and so they won't be.
I think they're.
Hold on, let me finish.
Yeah.
The thing that makes it more interesting is, how do governments respond to that? Does the White House and does Justin Trudeau and does all of these different places that have now been using this, like do the Montreal cops who have a blue check mark, like, now have to turn around and pay to be on there to keep their credibility, or do they lose their blue check mark and then everybody is equally saying they're Justin Trudeau?
I think they might make an exception for like some actual like heads of state or actual official government accounts. I don't know about Montreal cops. I don't know about, specific.
Let me double check that I'm not lying, but I'm pretty sure that they're, because then you're making then you're going to have to say that it's a cost for the taxpayers, for your government to be included onto this weird platform that really something like only 10% of people are on or something. So it's really weird to me it's a weird turn.
Well, it's because of the cash.
And yes, our cops are verified. I'm pretty sure our metro lines are verified.
I know, but I'm saying is they might make an exception for some get to keep it without the $8 if you're a government.
But then where do you make the exceptions?
Yeah, and I think honestly,
it's out of hand.
From what the impression I get though is that he's actually going to like loosen some of the criteria. You just have to prove your identity, not your notability, and anyone can get, because you also get like preferential treatment for your videos or something. You get, and I think he basically wants to make it basically the paid tier and the free tier, and not make it a thing about celebrities.
I don't know that anybody cares enough to participate in this nonsense.
Yeah, well, I think the fact that he laid off half the workers, he realized he's not really the kind of guy that should be running a social media site.
Well, he realized that before he bought it, but then he couldn't get out of it.
Yeah, and he fired the CEOs who basically forced him to buy it, and their buyout package was insane. Not the average workers, but the CEOs. Their buyout package was crazy. Like they got like millions of dollars just for being fired after they got probably a bunch of money when he ended up buying the company too.
This brings me to my next point, which is the random tiers of reality we're trying to exist in all at one time. For instance, we could get into these really deep conversations about something that's really abstract, ridiculous, overpriced, and things like that. Iran is entering its 8th weeks of protest. There's no way of knowing how many people have died just showing up in the streets and trying to fight for rights. And meanwhile, Elon Musk is carrying a kitchen sink for a photo op. And it's just, there's too many things happening at once where we could just, like, first of all, there's too many people creating these, but to be thinking that we need to worry about blue check marks in one part of the world. And first of all, I've seen also a lot of people expressing sadness or, oh, I'm so sorry for the people who lost their jobs at Twitter. But as you say, they just got bought out. All of them are going to find jobs tomorrow. They have an inbox full of things. And meanwhile, Ukraine is still under war. Iran is doing some brave stuff that, once again, as we go further and further, the news isn't going to be covering it as heavily. But also there's a fog of confusion specifically designed by the authoritarian regime to try to make sure that nobody knows how many people are being killed right now. But that's it should be noted, it's the 8th week. I'm watching footage of it, and we just can't let it be forgotten amidst all the other crazy things.
Well, that's usually what a lot of people, regimes count on, is they count on everyone's going to be upset at first, but then soon people are going to stop, get bored of it.
Yeah, and they're going to worry about things like the fact that in the States right now, it's the Powerball lotto is at $1.6 billion. So this is another thing where it's like, we're at a weird dystopian part of society. Like this is, the late stage capitalism and all that stuff and whatever. It's like, I can't wrap my head around the fact that we're having all these conversations at once.
1.6, you can't even buy Twitter for that.
Well, maybe you can after Elon's done with it.
You buy it for a few $100,000. It seems like trying to change what it is. I remember no, you're right. There's a lot more important things going on, but it's just
the absurdity of it all happening at once, where it's legitimate to be having all these conversations and to be like, oh yeah, there are people starving in the streets. There are people dying in the streets fighting for good causes. There are people, and meanwhile, $1.6 billion in a lotto seems like a perfectly normal thing for literally America is my version of a slipping into third world country right now. Oh, we're just going to skip over Pelosi. But the whole Pelosi thing has got me just salty. Pelosi's husband thing, just salty. Yeah. That guy was also there apparently illegally because he's some Canadian guy. But the fact that on Twitter,
don't blame the Canadians.
No, but I want to blame Twitter for also the prevalence I see of people being like, yeah, this is all sketchy though. Where's the footage of this or that? Yo, a dude bust into somebody's house, beat an old man with a hammer, and wanted to abduct and hurt his wife, who is also in her 80s. Like, America, we need the wall between here and there. Yeah. They're slipping into it's a full dystopic future movie.
Ironically, if she was home, there's no way that guy would have gotten in, because the U.S. basically she's the third most powerful person in the government, so she would have had a Secret Service detail there. But because she was away and he was there, the guy was able to get into the house, which is interesting too. Like, they're not going to protect the family. It's
tragic. It's tragic the way that people are trying to spin it or say that it was a hoax, and they're trying to Jussie Smollett it.
Awful, yeah.
And once again, that same country that I keep shaking my head and being like, that's crumbling before our eyes. $1.6 billion just in a lottery. Everything's normal. Nothing's on fire.
Okay. Well, at that note, you can follow. Well, I can follow, I guess, McMoxie on.
I have never had a check mark. I'm never gonna have a check mark.
I tried to get one. Maybe I'll be able to get one now. I'll be able to get one now. Actually,
read that article, because you trying to get that check mark was very interesting to me. I enjoyed that article a lot. I shared it.
Once this new thing comes in, if I got $8, I could probably get a check mark.
$8 a month, man.
I don't want it.
I follow Patreons for less than that.
It's not. There's no value in it anymore.
There's no value.
If a guy like me can get it, there's no value in it anymore. Like, what
you don't want to be a member of any club that'll have you.
Yeah, So, but for now, I'm still on Twitter. I mean, at Jason C. McLean, at Dom McSweeney, at McMoxie. Definitely still on Instagram at Jason C. McLean, at McMoxie. Forget the Box still has a Twitter. At Forget the Box, still on Instagram.
I don't think it has a check mark either.
At Forget the Box. No, well, the thing is, somebody would need to write a Wikipedia article about us, which I can't do ourselves. But
I guess anybody out there watching this could
write a Wikipedia article. We're legitimate. We've been around since 2009. We have following, and then Twitter will accept us with the blue check mark. But then I think that's going to be out the window, because we're just going to have $8.
This is me giving you the eyes. Anybody out there who wants to write a Wikipedia article?
So, and you, of course, if you're watching this on Facebook, like, share, follow Forget the Box, share, subscribe to us on Twitter, on YouTube. Smash that like button, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, and follow at Forget the Box. And of course, we have an Android app, and for daily content, we got some new shows coming up this week, and we also check out. All episodes are now streaming of The Outside World. That's Don and I's project with Leandra. theoutsideworld.silovoice.com.
But so now the last one is dropping today, which means you could sit down and listen to all of them. If you've been waiting for the moment where you're like, I don't like this 10 minutes at a time stuff. I want to listen to the whole kerfuffle all in one shot. You can do it now. And if you've loved it the whole time through and you want to get a friend hooked, now's the time to tell them to just listen to the whole thing.
Exactly. Now, text speaker, I do the mute here. And for daily content, check out forgetthebox.net. We'll catch you next week for another FTB Weekends.